Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Teaching English on Dروس Mega Goal 3. We start our class today by reviewing the plan. First, we're going to review the previous lesson to make a quick revision on pronunciation. Next, we're going to introduce the vocabulary building, which is the main class of today. Just a pre-reading for an article called Living Off the Grid. Next, we're going to review some vocabulary from this reading passage. And at the end of the class, we're going to review 5 irregular verbs. You remember last time, in our last class, we studied the thought group, okay? The pronunciation section of this unit. In the thought group, thought means an idea. So a group of ideas usually pronounced together, and the pause comes after this thought group. Sometimes we call it thought group, and sometimes we call it chunks. Okay, as you can see here, we make this thought group for grammatical phrases like a relative clause, like a noun phrase, like a verb phrase, like a prepositional phrase, and so on. So we collect a group of words together, and we make pauses, and we make stress on the last word of this group. And also, you need to, when you pronounce this, you need to watch also your intonation, okay? How to make this stress on the syllable and how to stop with intonation. Now, let's take the 4 examples that we studied in our previous lesson, and let's listen to them with a native speaker and reading these 4 sentences. Look at number 1 here. It takes, here, we call this as a thought group. 1 million years, also a thought group. And also here, number 3, for a glass bottle, we consider it as a thought group. And the last thought group is to decompose. So now you will listen to this and to the other 3 sentences and how they are divided and how the reader of these 4 sentences stops at the end of each thought group. Okay, let's listen now and read with him, and please repeat after him, please, because he will give you some time to repeat.
1. It takes 1 million years for a glass bottle to decompose. 2. The process of recycling glass is quite simple. 3. This simple process conserves both energy and natural resources. 4. Recycling 1 glass bottle saves enough energy to light a 100-watt bulb for 4 hours.
Okay, so it is clear now that how the native speaker now pronounced these 4 sentences and where the pauses come, as we explained in the previous lesson and a while ago. Let's also give some more details about this to remind you of the previous lesson. A thought group contains 1 idea, as we said. Also, we will have another example here when you talk about an action sentence or a sentence that like this one, my brother and I never walk barefoot at night. So how can you divide this? We can divide it into like this, into 3 sections. Number 1, my brother and I, this we consider this as a subject of the sentence, never walk barefoot. Okay, this is the second thought group, and the last one is at night. Okay, and as we mentioned here, the thought groups never end with functional words. Okay, only with main verbs, main words. Okay, thought groups, okay, are usually made of 2 to 5 words. Okay, this is the average number of words inside the thought group. The noun phrase, sometimes it becomes like a noun phrase, like this one, old man. The old man is considered as a noun phrase. The recycled glass also is a noun phrase. Sometimes it is considered as a verb phrase, like these 2 examples here. Consider reusing. Okay, this is a verb. Also, recycle used glass. This is also is a verbal phrase. Okay, sometimes it comes as a prepositional phrase like this one, in the morning, behind the door, and so on. Okay, look at the notice here. Through thought groups end with content words, not functional words. As I mentioned a while ago, each thought group should end with not with a function word. It should finish with a content word. You cannot end your thought group with in or because or and, okay, or any preposition. So it should be a content word. Okay, and also we studied this example and we broke the sentences into these sections. You can pause the video now and watch how we divided this sentence. You can read it as a practice, okay? And now we're coming to our main class of today, which is about vocabulary building. And we usually, when we study vocabulary building, which is activity number 7, we consider it as a pre-reading activity. So you are now to be prepared for the reading, because the passage that you are going to read in the next class is a very long one. Okay, it is about 600 word passage, and it has also 8 paragraphs. So before that, you need to know as much vocabulary and as much words as possible. So this class, inshallah, will help you to learn these words. Okay, this is the exercise that we are going to answer after introducing some verbs, some words for you also, and after introducing the whole passage. Because when you try to guess the meaning of the words when you read, you need to imagine everything about this passage. What is the title? What is it about? And who is the writer of this passage? And as much as information as possible to collect about the reading passage will help you to understand, and will help you also to predict the meaning, okay, and to understand the whole idea of this reading. Okay, the title of this reading passage is Living Off the Grid. Okay, it might be difficult to you to understand what is the meaning of off the grid. Okay, living off the grid is like this. This is called the grid. We call this the grid. We all live with electricity. We cannot find our life as easy as it is now without electricity. So some people try to avoid destroying or avoid consuming a lot of natural resources, so they start living off the grid, away from the grid. So they live without electricity, and they try also to generate their own electricity in some ways. Okay, this is the grid, we call it. The grid are the wires that connected to the houses to get the power of electricity. Okay, and instead of that, some people, when they live off the grid, away from the grid, they start to work on the windmills. These are called the windmills. Okay, they try to generate their own electricity by themselves. Okay, we will read a lot about this, and we will understand how these windmills work. Okay, and also how can they generate also electricity. Okay, so they use also the solar system, the solar power, to generate also electricity, and they grow their own vegetables and fruit. They raise also their own chicken and animals, and they live away from the modern life, or away from the electricity in particular, and also other natural resources. Okay, how many words does this passage or this article have? It has about 600 words. Okay, so this will help you to imagine and to measure, because later on you will be asked to write. Okay, so when you are asked to write, you usually asked to write less than 250 words, or sometimes 150 words, or less than that. But when you want to write, you need to imagine, okay, or to measure how long the passage is. So this passage is about 600 words, and we advise you also to imagine that you are going to write a 150 word article, because we're coming to writing later on. So now you read, and you will also get the use of this reading by knowing how the writer has divided his paragraphs, and how he divided his ideas into these paragraphs. This is what you are going to learn, inshallah, in this reading. Also, you need to know how many paragraphs is this passage divided into. So it is divided into 8 paragraphs. Okay, so if you now you know that it is 8 paragraphs, you certainly know that the first one, paragraph number 1, is an introduction. Paragraph number 2 is a body. Up to 7, they are called body paragraphs. The last one is considered a conclusion. Okay, where the writer in the introduction starts his idea and gives his readers a general idea and a general image about what is he going to talk about, or what is he going to write about. Then at the last paragraph, paragraph number 8, he concludes his ideas and he gives a lot of information, or what he reached about, and sometimes he gives his opinion about the reading. So that's what we're going to do when it comes to you to read. So now when it comes to you to write, now you are going to read and read as a critic. So when you read as a critic, that will help you to improve your writing later on. Okay? Now, this is the first paragraph. We're not going to read it, just to show it to you. Then we're going to vocabulary building, the most important section of today. So this is the paragraph number 1, where the writer introduces his ideas. Now, here the writer is trying to draw an image in his readers' minds, so that they can imagine what is he going to write about. Let's read the first sentence, which is considered as the topic sentence of the paragraph, and the other sentences which are written in the black font are considered also supporting sentences, okay, where the writer is trying to defend his idea which he wrote in the first sentence, and the last one we consider it as a conclusion for the paragraph. Okay, in the article we have an introduction, body paragraphs, and we have a conclusion. Inside each paragraph also we have a topic sentence that the writer introduces the main idea that he's going to talk about, or he's going to defend in his paragraph, and then at the end, the last sentence, he concludes his idea about the same paragraph. So this paragraph, let's try to read the first one just to let you imagine how the paragraph is going to be about, and this is the main, maybe considered as the main sentence to help you understand the whole passage. Imagine heating your home without relying on the local power plant. So here the writer is telling you to put an image in your mind about yourself, that you are living away from grid. You live away from electricity, from water, and from all supplies, okay, or utilities. Okay, and he concludes his sentence. That is what we are going to come to, inshallah, in our next class. Now, paragraph number 2, as you can see, he is trying to define what a grid is. Okay, that is body paragraph number 2. Also, we are talking about number 3, paragraph number 3, where the writer is talking about how the people produce, or how they generate their own electricity. Okay. Also in the 4th paragraph, okay, he's talking about some experiences about some people when they experienced living out off the grid. Okay, and here also this paragraph number 5 is talking about advantages and disadvantages. Okay, and in paragraph number 6 here also is talking about an experience of a mother who has 3 children and who lived away from the grid or off the grid. Okay, also here talking about the difficulties and the disadvantages that might meet the people who live off the grid. And here we're coming to the last paragraph, which we told you about. That is a conclusion. Here the writer is concluding his idea and telling you what he thinks about this action, or this activity, or this thing that he talked about in the topic sentence, when he says living off the grid entails sacrifices. So this is his main idea that he wants to tell at the end of his article. So we'll read it inshallah in our next class. But now our class is about vocabulary. Let's review the vocabulary. Look at this one now. We will review the vocabulary in the same way we used to. We'll give you the picture, and we'll give you the word and how the word is contextualized, and the part of speech. You need to know what part of speech the word is, and also you need to learn how to define this. So now we're talking about utilities. We call these things, you can see in the picture now, we call them utilities. There are ways that country can replace utilities such as electricity, natural gas, and water from local supply system. So what is utilities? Utilities are the things. Okay, let's with a noun, let's define it. Since it is a noun, I told you earlier that when it is a noun, you need to define it with another noun. like here, utilities, a service that is used by public, such as an electricity or gas supply or train services. All the things that you use, like electricity, water, train services, they are called utilities, okay, that help you to live a better life. Now here in this also we're talking about bold, okay, this is an adjective. You can find it in this sentence here. These people have made the bold decision to live off the grid. Now here the writer is telling us that, or he's describing the decision that the people made as bold. Okay, you can, knowing, and as I told you, knowing what part of speech the word is will help you to understand the word or to guess correctly. So let's read the sentence again here. These people, he means the people who the off-gridders, the people who live out off the grid, have made the bold decision, okay, to live off the grid. So he describes the decision as bold, okay, so it's an adjective, not frightened of danger. So they are brave people, so they are not frightened to make this decision. So the decision is bold. That means they are courageous and not frightened from danger, okay. Now here we're talking about perspective, okay. Perspective means also the same as opinion. Let's find out what it means here in the sentence. It puts everything in life into perspective, okay. A particular way of considering something, your own way to consider something. Sometimes when you introduce something that you want to say and you want to tell your opinion or your view, you use this phrase, you say, in my perspective. This is a very good way also to introduce your ideas. You say, in my own perspective, that how I look, how I see this thing, okay. We're talking here about harsh. What is the meaning of harsh? Let's use it here, and the picture might tell you something about it. Many people think we have a harsh and depressing lifestyle. So again, harsh is mentioned here as an adjective. So it describes or it modifies lifestyle. So what's the meaning of harsh? Harsh is an adjective, as we said, unpleasant, okay, unpleasant, unkind, cruel, or more severe than is necessary. So that is the meaning of harsh. Okay, so look at the people here. They're trying to do something bad to this guy, so they are considered as harsh because he's frightened and he is not comfortable. Okay, so they are harsh. Next here, when you give something, like this is the word sacrifice, okay, let's read it first in a context, and you will need to find out what the meaning of the word is. Living off the grid entails sacrifices. Okay, what's the meaning of sacrifices? When you give something that you want or that is pleasant to you and you do something unpleasant. That is the meaning of sacrifice. Now look at the picture here. The man is trying to do something pleasant for the others but not pleasant for him. So that is considered as sacrifice. The act of giving up something that is valuable to you. Okay? And here we're talking also about rely on. Okay, this is a phrasal verb. Imagine heating your home without relying on the local power plant. So this is the main topic of this article. Imagine heating your home without relying on the local power plant. So relying on means depending on. So you cannot live without depending on electricity, for example, for lots of things, a lot of good things that you do with electricity. To depend on or trust someone or something, that's me rely on. So you rely on the local power plant. Okay, and here also we talk about committed. This is a verb. Or it is actually a past participle verb, but we told you before that when you use a past participle, you can use it as an adjective. Okay, the past participle of the verb can be used as an adjective. Look here, we're talking about off-gridders, the people who live away from the city or from the suburb, the power supply of electricity. Committed to live off the grid may even lack garbage service. Okay, so are they committed to living off the grid? They might lack to garbage service. That means they cannot have the garbage services, but you will find out how less they have of their garbage. Okay, so what's the meaning of committed? That means very willing to give your time and energy to something. So they are committed. That means they give everything to sacrifice and to work for this idea. Okay, now we come to the exercise that we are going to answer today, which is exercise A on page 87. Okay, now here it says the exercise, you will see these words in the reading on page 88 and 89. That's the passage we told you about. Match the words with their meanings. Okay, now look at number 1, relying. We were talking about relying a while ago. What is the meaning of relying? Okay, it is E, as you can see here, depending on. Okay, rely as a verb, and we use it as a gerund. If you can still remember, rely means a verb, but relying used as a gerund before in the context we read a while ago. So relying means depending on. Utility, what is utility? We said utility is a basic service supplied by a business or facilities such as electricity or running water. These are called the utility. Bold. Bold, here the definition of this word is strong and courageous. Okay, that's the meaning of bold. Committed, dedicated. Committed means dedicated. Perspective, that's the word we explained a while ago, means what? A way of seeing something. Okay, and number 6 here, harsh. What's the meaning of harsh? Harsh means severe or difficult. We explained a while ago with the picture, if you still remember. Enormous, okay, that is extremely large. Okay, that is the meaning of enormous. And also here, sacrifice means loss of something for a specific purpose. Okay, that means you prefer somebody or something upon yourself or on yourself. Now we're going to also here, we will not go to reading. We will go to the irregular verbs to end the class with. Okay. Okay, just a second, sorry. Okay, the irregular verbs. Now let's talk about the irregular verbs that we use to study and analyze. Okay, we have the infinitive form, and we have also the past and the past participle. Okay, let's look at this picture now. What is the verb? You can guess from this word. It is swim. What's the past of swim? If you want to talk about something happened in the past, you say swam, and the past participle is swam. Okay, let's use them in 3 sentences also. He swims every day, so you are using now the present continuous and use it in the present form. And also you need to notice how we are going to punctuate here. We are punctuating the sentence correctly. You start with a capital letter and you end your sentence with a full stop. This is very important to learn and to practice also. Swam, we are using it in the past. We say he swam yesterday, and the past participle of swam, we can use it with the perfect tense. We can say he has swum. Okay, and now the verb here is take. What's the past of take? It's took, and the past participle is taken. Let's use it in 3 sentences again. He takes the key. That is every day. And in the past we say he took the key. Okay, and you need to notice how we build the sentence with the verb, subject, verb, object. This is the main structure of the English sentence. You need to put in mind always. Okay, when you write, especially when you write a verb, a sentence with a verb. Okay, he has taken the key. So we're using this form or this tense in the past perfect. In the present perfect. Okay. Now here is the teacher. What does a teacher do? A teacher teaches. Okay. In the past, taught, and in the past participle, we say also taught. How do you use it in a sentence? He teaches every day. In the past, yesterday, we say he taught yesterday, and in the past participle, we can say he has already taught. Okay. And here, look at the boy, he's tearing the sheet. So tear means يمزق, okay? The past is tore, and the past participle is torn as well. Let's use it in 3 sentences. He tears a sheet, or he tore a sheet, or he has torn a sheet also. The last verb, look at this picture. What does it mean? It means that he thinks. Okay, think. The past, thought, and the past participle is thought. And also, you notice here when we talked about pronunciation, we said thought idea. Okay, that's a noun. But here, this is the past of the verb think. But when we use it for pronunciation, if you still remember, thought group, we use it as a noun. So thought is a noun. But here it is the past and the past participle of the thing. Don't mix them up. Okay. So here he thinks it is good. So this is the present form, and in the past we say he thought it was good, and in the past participle he has thought about it. Okay. So we're using it in the present, in the past, and in the past participle with the present perfect. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you inshallah in our next episode. Goodbye.